What's going on, everybody? Zachary Smith here. Welcome back to the channel. Leave me a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that I'm going to be putting out here. Miscellaneous channel. I can't stress that enough. It's going to be a lot of sports related stuff that isn't specifically Pittsburgh sports, like I'm putting out over on my Around the 412 channel, where we do all Pittsburgh sports content. This will be the home for all the other stuff. I'm going to start doing something. This will be the first video in a series of 32 of them from now till the NFL draft, a 4-round mock draft for every single team in the NFL, going based off where their first selection is. So obviously we'll be starting with the Chicago Bears, who have the number 1 overall selection as we sit here today. Also, let's just get this out of the way right now. For the sake of this exercise, they will be sticking and picking at number 1. Now, in reality, I think that they're going to get way too many enticing offers to do so. They don't need a quarterback, and there are plenty of teams that are going to be looking to move up for Bryce Young, for CJ Stroud, maybe Will Levis, potentially Anthony Richardson. Who knows? Like, these guys are going to be all over the boards of some of these teams, just depending on what they covet. So, be interesting to see. But for the sake of this exercise, with so much uncertainty, we're just going to be sticking and picking for all of these teams. I will have the trade offers on the screen so you guys will see some of the ones that come in. Because personally, if I'm a Chicago Bears fan, I get it. You're going to be watching this video and think, please take that offer. Like 3 first-round picks plus, please take this offer to move back. But for the sake of this exercise, we will not be doing that. Also, to stay consistent, we'll be using Pro Football Network, PFN. There's mock draft simulator for all of these. It's personally my favorite one. Obviously, Pro Football Focus has one, Mock Draft Database has one. I'm not sure if the Draft Networks is up working yet. I know that they've been doing some like beta testing with their simulator and stuff like that. And there's probably more out there that I just haven't checked out. But just to stay consistent, we'll be using PFNs for all of this. So I will share my screen with you guys, and we can get rolling here. Okay, again, Chicago Bears currently with number 1 pick. The Colts, very possible to move up. New head coach, obviously, Shane Steichen coming over from the Eagles, offensive coordinator. And that would be a fantastic call. This next one is probably the one. I mean, look at this. Obviously, only moving back 1 spot. You also get 12, 33, and then 2 additional firsts. The Cleveland pick from the Deshaun Watson deal, and also Houston's own first in the following season as well. That no-brainer move, obviously, for them to do that. Tampa coming in, obviously losing Tom Brady. They could be in the quarterback market. Carolina, definitely Frank Reich not back in town now, new head coach and ready to start over with a new regime. Atlanta, they be in play for a quarterback? I mean, Desmond Ritter is a 3rd-round pick last year, not necessarily a massive investment in him. We saw him a little bit down the stretch. Maybe some flashes there. I'm not sure. Will they roll with him for a season and then go from there in 2024? Maybe be in the Caleb Williams market. Drake May, potentially. And then Green Bay. If they move on from Rodgers or they sold on Jordan Love, I would think that he would get a shot first. So interesting that they're in play here to move up for number 1, according to the simulator. But yeah, we're just going to go through and reject all these, stick and pick at number 1 for the Bears, and they will obviously be going the defensive route. And it comes down to Will Anderson Jr. or Jalen Carter, obviously 2 very different players. You go with the edge guy or the pocket collapser and Jalen Carter. Will Anderson Jr., very, very high ceiling. I think he comes in as a very good player right away, but very high ceiling, as high as anybody in the class. But do you covet that, at the edge, as opposed to, it's a little bit harder to get some pass rush from the interior when you find a guy that can collapse pockets the way that Jalen Carter does. Obviously, also, stuffing the run game up a little bit. Which one do you covet more? And I think in the Chicago Bears case, while I could very much see either one of these, I'm going Jalen Carter as the pick here, and I'll pause it as we see some of these picks being made behind us. Again, I just think if I am evaluating the Bears, and it's just about getting the best player, whoever's the highest player on their board at this point, they would be taking. I think it's personally on the defensive side of the football, and I think it's a little bit harder to find a guy on the interior of a defense that can create pass rush the way that Jalen Carter can. Very high ceiling, and I think that's why I'm coveting that as opposed to a really good edge player. If it's close, I think you go the inside guy just because it's harder to find. Also, very interesting, the Houston Texans don't go quarterback either. They take Will Anderson Jr., and we know the Cardinals, wouldn't be. And then Will Levis, the first quarterback off the board to the Colts, and then CJ Stroud. So as we sit here, based off this, we get to pick 7. and Bryce Young still on the board. Jordan Addison, the first receiver off the board at 6. This is very interesting how this mock is playing out. So can you timeout. Bryce Young ends up being QB4 on this, taken 9th overall to the Carolina Panthers. A match that a lot of people have made with the Panthers trading up to get Bryce Young to pair with Frank Reich. So very interesting that he falls all the way to 9. I mean, listen, I get the concerns, that height weight combo that we haven't seen succeed at the NFL level. He's an outlier. If he ends up being good in the NFL, it will be an outlier. He's an anomaly. Really, really good player at the college level who I personally would be willing to bet on. I will take my chances in thinking that he is an outlier, but I can understand why some teams he's not going to be the first or second quarterback on their board. Even like the physical traits that Anthony Richardson possesses, who goes 1 pick earlier to the Falcons, I could see some teams banking on him over Bryce Young too. It is what these NFL teams covet, and who's going to be that team that says we believe this guy is the guy to break the mold. In this case, it's the Carolina Panthers. I wouldn't say anything's necessarily okay. Josh Downs goes around 1. That's JL Skinner, huge Senior Bowl winner. Lucas Van Ness, polarizing guy. Daniel Jeremiah had him going as high as 8 at one point, and he obviously fell here. Much lower than that. He hasn't played a whole ton, not a lot of snaps. So it looks like the ceiling is certainly there, but you're banking on a lot of projection with him. But as we move down here, Hendon Hooker, what a case this is going to be to see. Obviously, the size, arm combo, fantastic. Coming off that injury, though, if he wasn't coming off that injury, where does he go in round 1 as well? Do we see 5 quarterbacks go in the first round of the draft? Here he falls to Washington at 47. He's going to be a polarizing guy, I think, through this process too. Okay, pick 53 now. Again, I still think it's just about getting better. Doesn't really matter how. Ooh, I think I'm between just 2 guys here right now, unless somebody else jumps off and me going down the board. Yeah, we're gonna go Dawand Jones for them. I don't think that the offensive line is there yet. I think that they've tried to just throw pieces at it, a darts here and there. And it obviously is not a finished project yet. I think Dawand Jones, he's going to answer a lot of questions. I think he started answering them the one day that he was able to compete at the Senior Bowl about, is he too big where he's not going to be able to move around? But I think he's athletic enough carrying that weight around. I think he's dropping some weight. I think he's getting himself to a healthy weight here before the draft where he's going to win a lot of teams over. I don't know that he's going to be I think he's going to be a right tackle. Exclusively. I wouldn't be asking him to switch to the left. I don't know that any team would do that. But yeah, I think this is a nice piece for Chicago to continue to build around with that offensive line as they continue to find a way to protect Justin Fields. So yeah, it was between him and Drew Sanders for me. But I'll go the offensive line route. Cody Mauch could have made sense too. Obviously, the versatility. He's played all 5 spots. They were asking him to play all 5 spots down there at the Senior Bowl. So he would be an interesting guy too. All right. So pick 64 to kick off round 3. All right. So to pull up just the team needs, if you're looking at the Bears and what they need going into the offseason, again, you have free agency as well. We don't know how that's going to play out for them. But we've addressed, defensive tackle here, and we've addressed offensive tackle here. So, both sides of the trenches for the Bears. They need a weapon. They need another receiver. Despite the Chase Claypool trade, they that receiver room is not there yet. Are they going to make a big splash somewhere else? Could that be, the trade route or free agency potentially? They need an edge guy, so Derek Hall could be in play here. I think they need another corner as well. I don't think I'm going to go that route right now. Um, mm, did he go already? Yeah, he was up there. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting a little. By the way, like this isn't something I've like done practices of, and I came in knowing who I was going to pick. Obviously, I'm at the mercy of the computer. Um, I feel like I'm gonna go a little bit off earlier than where they have him. I'm gonna go Will McDonald here, edge out of Iowa State. I really like. We'll pull up the size here. Oh, yeah. Well, we don't need the scouting report because we're not going based off that. 6'4", 245. I think as a run defender, really good right now. I think he offers a solid floor because of that. I think he can come in and kind of be like a rotational guy. I don't know that you're going to ask him immediately to step in and be like a 3-down guy. But I like his ability immediately to help this defense off the edge. I think that he goes actually, potentially higher than this. I've seen some mocks where he goes top 50. I think that that's right around the range. They have him listed at 101. I think he's much better than that. If you haven't watched him on tape, I think he's a guy that you should watch. If you're somebody that's really into the NFL draft, again, even if you are just looking at like the first couple rounds, I think he's very much in play. So I get him there. People might consider it a reach. I really like the player. I don't think so. And it's really because I think, looking at the receivers, I don't see a huge drop off from the guys that could have gotten to the guys that are still on the board. I think you could still get one right now and feel good about it. Um, we're not doing any trades. So now I think you start thinking about an additional weapon here. Do we have yeah, we still got a couple more picks, right? Or at least one more. Yeah. Ooh, now I almost wish I would have gone edge because I could have gotten Keanu Benton with ridiculous value at this pick, in my opinion. Again, I think he could be a guy that goes a lot higher than what he's listed at here. Hmm. Okay. I think at this point we're gonna go weapon. And again, not the highest guy on the board, but I love the hands. I think Parker Washington has maybe the best hands of this class. Some obviously physical limitations. He's not the tallest guy, 5'10" or so. But the way that he can pluck the ball with those hands, I just think he's a nice complement to what you have in that room right now with Darnell Mooney, and hopefully you can get Chase Claypool more involved in that offense next season. And I still think they add somewhere else too, especially if they're going to wait this long to add a weapon in the draft. But yeah, Parker Washington, I think he's a better player than where he just got drafted. And again, I think he's got some of the best hands, if not the best hands in this draft class. So I feel really good about getting him at this pick. Okay, and then we're gonna round it out here. We're gonna go in an I do not think I think it's a foregone conclusion that Montgomery is going to be gone there. I think they will add a back, as much as they might like Khalil Herbert, I think he's a capable guy. I think he can be, the main running back, maybe the 1A. We're going to Kendre Miller, though, out of TCU here, a running back that I really like. I think that he played really well down the stretch for TCU, and he became a focal point of that offense. He's an explosive guy. He's a good in between the tackles runner. We will see how much, pass catching that they asked him to do, if any. I think that's an area of improvement for him, but I expect them to add a back somewhere. I don't think that they're going to want to shell out the money in free agency to do it. Get another guy on a rookie contract here in the middle rounds of the draft, and I think that that's how you fill out that running back room. And I think you feel pretty good about it. So here we go. Jalen Carter, DeJuan Jones, Will McDonald, Parker Washington, and Kendre Miller. And I think you feel pretty good about that haul. Again, this isn't what I expect the Bears draft to look like, honestly, because I think that they end up trading that number one pick for a haul. It's just really hard to predict who that's going to be, what that haul would be, and that would obviously change a lot of these picks. They could be making a lot more picks than the 5 that we did here in the first 4 rounds. And I would actually expect that to be the case. But let me know how you feel about the haul, Bears fans or football fans in general. Again, if you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Let me know how bad I just did for the Chicago Bears and what you want to see in the future of this channel. Can't thank you enough for tuning in. For Zachary Smith, we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.